This is Drop In, Drop Out, the weekly podcast where a mix of 7 gamers come together to have an open and engaging conversation all about video games. Today, it's Switch 2 launch day, Drop In, Drop Out's first console launch. We have been playing, most of us, all day, and we are going to talk about it. I'm your host, Patrick, wearing a Pablo Sanchez shirt. He is the secret weapon. I hope, let's get the tummy on there. I hope that this brings us good luck today. And dropping in as well, the homie Kayla. Kayla, how you doing?
Hi. So you're meaning it's not the GameCube launch day? Oh, this is really awkward.
No.
Oh no.
Oh no, Kayla.
Oh, that's really upsetting.
Got the wrong one, girl.
I thought your head injury wasn't that bad.
No, I'm really excited for when I get mine tomorrow. I am the resident not knower of the group, but it's okay. I'm here. I'm ready to ask all the questions, get the information that people really want out of you. I'm here to interview. I'm ready.
Let's go. LFG, my dude. Also dropping in this week, Jordan, aka Cognitive Clips. Jordan, how you doing?
I'm great. I have my Triforce shirt on.
Whoa.
So yeah. We'll changing it up from the usual Metroid paraphernalia,
Wow.
Quick question. What's your favorite Triforce or Courage or whatever? What are the three?
Courage, Wisdom, Power.
Yeah, which one's your favorite?
I mean, Courage is pretty dope, I guess. That's
okay.
I feel like Power is the wrong answer because
Sure.
Ganon and whatnot, but you can't go wrong with Wisdom or Courage. So
Okay. Jake, how you doing?
It's me, man. I feel like everyone hears the buzzer and they think it's me. I'm doing well. Also, it's Courage, Wisdom, and Power bottom. Okay.
Yes,
Dune.
thank you.
Let's go.
I'm a Wisdom bottom, but continue.
Fair. That's fine.
God damn it. And rounding out our 5 today. What's the word? Quintet. Our quintet today. Jerkachu, aka Jerica. Jerica, how you doing?
Phenomenal. I'm so fucking hyped. This is the best time to be a gamer. June is just insane, and I've never been as high as I am right now on video games, to be clear. And of course,
who else has never been as high as right now? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to talk about Pride Month, and we're just like making jokes about being high and stuff. And
yeah,
it may actually, I'm gonna be honest, I sort of reminded myself it was Pride Month because I heard the the power bottom comment earlier. And I was like, oh yeah, let me make sure to say as the resident lesbian here,
yeah,
it's Pride Month.
Let's go.
You've watched Resident Alien. Get ready for Resident Lesbian.
Rainbow flags in the chat for Pride
for
Month.
the call. To be on that show.
I am. Oh God, what a beautiful day it's been. Even though everything is terrible, we have Switch 2. We have a new console from just some of the best in the game over at Nintendo. And that's all we're talking about today. We're just going to sit back, relax. Perhaps we lean forward a little bit and engage in this conversation all about the Switch 2. So we're just going to go around and start with our initial impressions of Switch 2 based on how it's been all day. Jake, of the 5 of us, you were the first to get your grubby little grabbers on the Switch 2. What do you think so far?
I'm so in love with this console, man. I have had cumulative in the last 24 hours about 3.5 hours of sleep. I got home 1:30 in the morning, streamed 4.5 hours of Mario Kart through the late night, and at one point I was speaking to chat through this like smile, and I was like, "Ooh, my cheeks!" You guys ever get like your cheeks get a little sore because you're laughing so much in one of those moments? It was such a moment of pure joy where I caught myself, and I was like, "I'm having so much fun right now." It was like 3:30 in the morning. I was like, "This is awesome! It's so wholesome. I love a Nintendo launch."
God, it's the best. I'm playing right now. The podcast can't stop me. I'm in free roam mode as Yoshi. I'm doing one of these little challenges. It's the best. Jordan, how about you? Tell me about your impression so far of Switch 2.
Yeah, I am absolutely loving it, man. Like I think we talked about this before. No, maybe it was me with somebody else and not you guys. Sorry, I have other friends.
Wow.
Fuck, God,
Like this
Harsh.
is
Brag.
Real harsh.
this
Okay.
is like my first actual launch console. Because like I got the Switch early, but not at launch. I got it like within a month or two, but it was like not at launch. You know what I mean? So like I'm pretty sure as an adult, this is my first time getting a console on launch day. And it's so hype, man. Like I had the day off, worked like a couple hours here and there, like sporadically, but like otherwise just spent some time setting it up and just like diving into a few different things, which I won't spoil yet. We'll get there. But you know, just trying it out, trying to chat with Patrick a couple times, and that just wasn't happening.
We chatted for about 7 seconds, which we'll talk about.
Whoa, whoa. Interesting.
It was not the fault of the console. Let me be clear.
No, it was the fault of our lives. And
yes,
God, this challenge is like the longest challenge I've done in free roam. It's still going, y'all.
Wow,
Jerica, talk to me about your experience so far. What do you think about Switch 2?
Overall, I might be just ahead of Kayla in terms of time with the console, even though it's 6 a.m. this morning. I just got finally because my phone was asleep. I tell it not to interrupt me when I'm trying to sleep. So if so many texts come through, eventually they start coming in, and I just like my phone was just dinging, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" Because I didn't expect it because like I got mine through Walmart, so it was basically like at 10 p.m. and I'm like, oh, I'm not getting this until like after lunch. So no, it was at 6 a.m. and it was just sitting outside for like 30 minutes by itself, by its lonesome. But little did I know it wasn't by itself. It had some friends in the bag with it. And I don't know if anyone else is listening, got a Walmart Switch delivery early this morning, but we also got some fucking Pringles, We got some Pringles up in here and a Coke. Did y'all get any other different sodas or is it just Coke?
I just got a Coke.
Okay.
What kind of savages send
Pringles and a Coke?
Yeah.
Coke.
All I have is Pepsi in my large. I'm so sorry.
Also bursting with flavor, Jake. Also, once you pop, you can't stop, Jake.
Stop! I cannot.
Okay, yeah, that's bad. But yeah, how? Come on, Walmart with the fucking Pringles and Coke. What a nice little touch.
Really nice.
There's a little paper that said "Let's eat."
That's so really cute.
That's
really cute.
I didn't get it. Mine didn't say that. It just said, "Have fun eating these gamer snacks while you're gaming." Something like my granny would send me on Christmas or something. Here's some gamer snacks.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I thought maybe it was like a regional thing for a minute. I was like, this looks like this is some shit that would go down in my local Walmart. Like they would go these extra steps like for this delivery. But I love that I saw it all over Twitter.
It was not "Let's eat." It was "Thank you."
Thank you, Mamma Mia. Well, Mr. Treehorn says their Walmart didn't give them Pringles and a Coke. So maybe that's how unfortunate.
I am so curious whose idea this was. How did it come to be, and how effective they were with getting as many posts I've seen with the Pringles and the Cokes and the Switch 2s. Like, I would say, it's pretty impressive from Walmart. I wouldn't have expected that. I'm not doing just a Walmart review here. Trying not to, but I was very surprised by the fact that I had a Switch 2 at 6 a.m. at my doorstep this morning.
I was saying to Rose, I was like, I can't imagine the amount of meetings and check-ins and huddles that happened over the last 9 months.
Yep.
Just to get a can of Pringles and a Coke in the bags of thousands, if not tens of thousands of gamers getting their Switch 2.
They were smart with the Pringles though, because less likely to get the chips all banged up. So because I was like, I really wanted Doritos, but I'm like, I would have got banged up.
Well, whenever Jerica sent that to the group chat, I was like, oh, like she means that she ordered like just a couple of snacks herself. No, this is like a complimentary snack that was dropped off with the console.
So eventually I'll dive into these and play more. But before I wrap up, I was going to just not my Walmart review, but also like overall impressions of the console. Like I said, I haven't had as much time as y'all. But after diving in, there's a few things I'm a little irritated with, but some things I'm just like, I can't wait to get back to. And I'll leave it at that. So because they'll probably get discussed later. But it's a good launch.
It's called a teaser, folks. That's
a tease it. Yeah, we, and by we I mean I am one person. We've been having a great time with the Switch today. I so far really my only complaints are that I barely got to sleep to get this, because I'm just, it feels so good. Like compared to the Switch 1, it just feels so much better in your hand. The joysticks are just like silky smooth on the new Joy-Cons. And like, are you kidding me with this? Oh, the magnetic. Oh,
it's so satisfying.
Wait, hold on. Shh.
It's so satisfying. Like I could just sit here all day and just pop these things in and out.
Tell me more about popping in and out.
Oh, you're telling me. So to talk a little bit about us actually getting our hands on it, my experience. So yeah, last night, as we've all know, we don't have to talk about my house, but we all know what's been happening with my house lately. And something that some people might not know is that since the tree, it has also been visited by ne'er-do-wells several times, and I've been robbed. And so I've had this like pit in my stomach. Like, I swear to God, dude, I'm gonna get this, because originally the Switch that I'm holding was supposed to go to friend of the show, Ryan Selvey, but because the Walmart stores handled them themselves and didn't get like any sort of courier involved, there was no way to change the address. And so, because he doesn't live where I live. And so it was like, okay, so I'm going to get that one at my house, it seems. But I just really, what a fucking kick to the nuts it would have been if my Switch was stolen, or, you know, mine or Ryan's Switch was stolen. So it kind of kept me up all night. And then Jake was streaming, so that helped. But then it's like, okay, finally I get the notification. I wake up at like, I get a little bit of rest between like 5:30 to 6:30, and I wake up and it's like arrived. And I'm like, what? What do you mean it's arrived at 6:30? But then I see there's a little tracking button and I click it, and I'm stopped like 7 of, and it's like, it'll be there at like 7:15 or whatever. So it's like, okay, jump out of bed, get in the car, drive across town to go to my house. And I beat him there. It was just great. So just sitting on my porch, just waiting. And the smile this guy had on his face when he got up, he knew what he was delivering.
Oh,
was like, I hope you have a great day. I was like, I could cry right now. I could have tears in my eyes. So yeah, I got it. I drove home as fast as I could, broke a lot of laws, and I've been playing as much as possible. I was working today, so I was a good boy, but I have been playing a lot. And but yeah, Jake, you, as I said at the beginning, you're the first person to have gotten it here. You're a midnight boy. Tell me about it.
Process of picking it up, or like more like console time?
Process of picking it up.
So I was supposed to be a Walmart boy, and I had my pre-order in, and I that night I had a weird circumstance where I was in like the queue for both the standalone console and the Mario Kart bundle. I got through on the standalone console, and I didn't know how rare it was going to be, so I just pulled the trigger on that and pre-ordered. And then a lot of people have had excellent results with Walmart over these last couple of days, but there's been a couple outliers, and I think I was one of those outliers. I was not getting much feedback on my product being delivered. Nothing had moved as of like yesterday morning. I hadn't been charged for it. It was a whole scenario, and I started to get a little worried that I wouldn't have it on launch day. And I'm so very like, I want to do this at midnight. I want to stream. I want to be the person that has it, so everybody can come and hang out and be like centrally located, have the opportunity to either see it ahead of time or share that experience with me. So I decided to call an audible, and I canceled my pre-order, and I started waiting outside for my Switch 2 that was not pre-ordered at a GameStop. And let me tell you, myself among the unwashed masses, I fit in perfectly.
In the Florida nightlife.
Oh my God. In the hot heat, it was so bad. It was like 95 in the daytime, and I was just outside dying for a couple hours until they rang me up. I had to go back there at like 11 or so to line up again, and it was a brutally inefficient line. I will spare you guys all the details. I was ranting about it on stream last night. It was a real scenario out there. But the worst part is that it was like, it's summertime, and almost summertime in Florida. So I was like, oh God, this is gonna be so much better because it's nighttime right now. And I walk outside and it's like 80 degrees at 11 p.m. I was like,
humid as fuck, dude.
I'm gonna fucking die. Like, I can't do this again.
So how long did you have to wait when you got there, actually?
So when I first got there earlier in the day to like pre-ring and kind of guarantee myself a console, I was there from like 12:15 until about 3:34. And then when I got back, I was there from like 11:15 until 1:15. So overall, it was like almost like 6 hours of waiting totally, but well worth it.
Get a job.
I know.
Launch pickup experience for Poogle's Games in the chat. I stood in line in Chicago, 50-degree wet weather for an hour and a half with a pre-order.
Oh no.
Yikes.
Not the wet weather.
Poogles. Sorry.
Not the
Poogles.
wets. Yeah, there was a moment where I was like, I wish I had done pick up at store instead of ship to me, but it was nice to, even though all the stress that I had with it, I just don't like going to the store because I'm getting ahead of myself, but I did a pickup order of a couple accessories, which we'll talk about those at the Best Buy. And I mean, that was easy because I didn't go at midnight, but I could only imagine midnight in fucking Atlanta. Jericho, how about you? What was your pick up the Switch 2 story?
It's basically, I was just lucky to have it delivered to me bright and early, and it was easy as that. It couldn't have went better. And I know like one of my other friends like got the pre-order for me technically with Walmart. So and I had another one that I ended up getting for a close friend. So
nice.
Both of them were successfully delivered and thankfully not stolen. They were sitting outside like for about 30 minutes though. And I like ran. I didn't have much of my normal clothes on, I guess. It was like I was sleeping. So someone saw me walk
So you were in your
outside
hot
this
dog
morning.
costume.
Yeah. Not, just a titty slung over my shoulder, but hot dog costume. Yes. That's what we'll say.
As Noah points out in the chat, there seems to be a lot of titties slung over the shoulder in the eShop right now.
Yeah.
Too. A lot of AI slop, hentai slop.
Can confirm. I was like, I don't remember the Switch store being like this.
Very interesting.
It's always been like that?
Yeah.
I don't peruse the eShop that often, so I'm unfamiliar.
It's a mess.
Probably because it took like a year to load to start.
True.
Sure.
Which now it is not. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Sure, but
Okay. We'll talk about it.
Jordan, anything notable of your delivery experience?
Yeah. So I was also I started off being a Walmart girly. I was not able to get the bundle, but I was like, well, I don't know about waiting until these emails go out from Nintendo. I want to play it safe and go ahead and get one, and then we'll see what happens after that. So I got just the base console from Walmart. But then, like day 2 of those emails, I actually did get one, and I registered interest for the bundle. So I was like, I reached out to one of my best friends and said like, hey, do you want to buy this one off me? And he was like, absolutely. And so I told him the exact amount, and he sent it to me minus 1 cent because he's hilarious. So I was, keeping an eye on the Walmart thing because I was like, oh, I hope it doesn't get canceled last minute like it's been happening. But then, woke up this morning at like, I don't know, 6:15 and checking the Walmart app, and it was like arriving in 30 minutes. I was like, sorry, what? What do you mean arriving in 30 minutes? It's like not even 7 a.m. So that happened, and then mine arrived from Nintendo about 3-ish hours later. And
nice.
Yeah.
I was so shocked that Walmart stuck true, at least everyone here, of getting it by 9 a.m. That was their guarantee on the pre-order site. I'm fucking shocked. Also, some in the chat, Mr. Treehorn pointing out there was this snafu, I guess you could say, of GameStop stapling the receipt into the screen because a rare L in the packaging, they had it screen up at the exterior of the box. Thankfully, that didn't happen to any of ours, but if it happened to you in the chat, God, let us know.
I thought you were about to make a really, really good facetious joke and say a rare L from GameStop.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, that would have been very good.
The only mark on their record from the past year is stapling things to the Switch.
Yeah, exactly.
We're about to influence another person. We've already influenced Mr. the Human in our Discord, but now we're about to influence Blaster Goblin in the chat, who said that, I'm actually, don't sell me this thing. I don't need it. I'm a weak man.
Oh, don't watch. I mean, I don't want you to stop watching, but it will happen. Promise.
Yeah. Blaster Goblin, I'm talking to you. If you don't get a Switch in the next 24 hours, get the fuck out of here.
You play Tony Hawk on there.
Go Tony Hawk yourself, bro.
Jake, I keep coming to you first because you're the first among us. It just makes sense. But you streamed Mario Kart for hours this morning. What do you think about Mario Kart World? Let's talk about it.
Ooh.
I understand the diminishing returns on me saying the term "my game of the year." Someone needs to start keeping a list of how often that changes and how many times I say it, because at one point it was avowed, but I don't even know if that's on my top 10 anymore.
Sure.
Can I interrupt real quick, Jake?
Oh yeah.
Just to let our audience know, I was I guess I'd gone over to your profile the other day on Instagram and remembered that you also had Little Kitty Big City as your indie game of the year. So that tells you all anything about how trustworthy he is.
Fucking little Kitty Big City rips, bro.
Also, check out the views on that video.
Yeah, check out the views.
Yep.
Here's the thing: is that every time I post like an Instagram or anything like a reel of something, I'm like, we might have a new game of the year on our hands. Is what I kind of like default to. If I say it on the podcast, you got to be a little bit closer to like, okay, maybe he's speaking the truth. If you see it on my Instagram, don't fucking believe it, dude.
But Dude Cool has a good point that your game of the year is Venus Vacation, and there's no going back.
This is true. Oh my god, like that's actually going to be on my top 10 game of the year. Well, that's a different conversation.
Okay, that's a different podcast.
Welcome to Venus Vacation with
No.
Mario Kart is so good. I'm so glad to have a little bit of a platform here because I wanted to talk to you guys all about my onboarding with Mario Kart and what I realized was the best way to experience it, and recommend to everybody without spoilers the best way to kind of play Mario Kart in my opinion. If you haven't gotten too far, if you haven't experienced it for yourself, what I found myself doing was I started off with just like a Grand Prix. Let me do the Mushroom Cup. Let me hop in there. I'll do 4 races. I'll play as Wario, who's always been my main, and just zoom around the track and see how it goes. 150cc only, obviously. We do that. It's really fun. And then I go, okay, cool. I want to check out free roam mode. I get into free roam mode and I start having a blast. But what I realized really quickly in free roam mode is that essentially what I was doing in there was I was kind of spoiling the tracks in like the future of the game in free roam mode. So it wasn't long until I went off the beaten path from where I had just finished like the Mushroom Cup, and then I went over some hills and through the water and across like a bridge, and then next thing I know I'm in like a big beach themed level, and I was like, am I going backwards or forward? And at that point I was like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, this is like spoiler. I'm in spoilers right now. So I backed out, and we decided as like a group while I was live on stream that we should just go through the entire Grand Prix. Let's do all of the cups right in a row, 4-race circuit, 150cc, and experience the tracks the way that like the game dictates we should do it on that trajectory. And I can't recommend that experience enough because it is like the traditional Mario Kart experience. So I haven't even really I haven't played a single round of Knockout Tour. I've only been free roam. Yep, haven't touched Knockout Tour. Only did free roam for probably cumulative 15 minutes or so. And I instead got to the point where like you roll credits on Mario Kart Worlds, which took me a few hours to do. And it is just sublime. I can't recommend doing that enough. And I mean, my current review score right now is 10 out of 10, no notes. This is a game that is so jam-packed full of content that last night, as I was forcing myself to end stream after 4 hours, I had this list of things that I wanted to do, and I realized that it was insurmountable in the time remaining that I had. I was like, I can't actually do all this stuff. We have to save it, and we're going to come back to it as soon as humanly possible. And then every moment that I wasn't playing Mario Kart today, I thought about Mario Kart.
Yeah. I mean, I'm back to playing it right now. There's no why would I not multitask? This game is so fucking good, Jake.
It's so fucking good.
I'm halfway through the first race in the Banana Cup or whatever. This game's
Cup.
Unreal. I can't fucking believe it. Jerica, what do you think about Mario Kart World?
I'm so glad that Jake went first because I've only played probably about 20 to 30 minutes, and I was a little disappointed at first. So maybe I'm not playing it in the right order. I was like,
all right, I'm putting it down.
I feel like there's not a lot of stuff here. Like, I'm driving around, and like, granted, I'm not saying it's not there. I just might not have found said things yet. So I was like, I'm going to come back to this because I want to sort of get a good foundation of my Switch 2 experience. So I hopped off of it because I was at this moment, like I wasn't getting pulled in, and
what mode were you in, if you don't mind my asking?
I
Personal
did a
question.
couple of just races with my girlfriend. So co-op was my first experience, and then we did. I guess I just went to the free roam and just drove around and to see what was around.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
but my opinion here could be a little unknown or not correct, just because of my time with the game. But, Jordan, what's so funny?
Rabbit128. I drove around in free roam mode and somehow ended up in Sydney Sweeney's bathwater.
Jesus. Well, I haven't found that yet in the game, so I'll be looking.
That's an Easter egg.
Oh my god.
But overall, like, I feel like there's a lot there, but I've just scratched the surface. So I did a segue because what I went into is what I was really wanting to do, and it wasn't Pikmin 4. I promise. I did boot it up to see, but I went back to Tears of the Kingdom, and maybe I'll talk about that soon. But please, any insight into Mario Kart, like how I should be playing it, because maybe it's so much, and I'm not getting the best first impression.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
If I may, I think you should jump into a knockout tour. I think, Jake, I can't wait for you to play knockout tour if you've not done it yet, because that mode is a fucking revelation to Mario Kart to me. It's like, it just feels like a totally different, within reason. I'm being hyperbolic, but the checkpoints being what keeps you in the match or not, those especially, it's like, at first you got to be in the top 20, then 16, 12, and it goes by 4. So there's 6 checkpoints. And if you're at that like straddling point coming up to the end of a checkpoint, it is just like the best high fucking octane fun, because what I'm learning about this game, especially on 150cc, I've not done anything less than 150cc yet. The computer can fucking play in this game. Mm-hmm. They can fucking play. And this game, I've also found, really, compared to 8, relies on coins in a big way. The coins really matter in this game. And so, especially with Knockout Tour, it's the kind of thing where once you are past, say, the 3rd checkpoint, it's safe to assume every computer racer on 150cc has the full 20 coins, because it just, you have to fucking keep up. I think I've done 6 of the 8 knockout tours so far, and I've only come in first once, and I've been knocked out twice. The other times I think I finished in like 3rd or 4th. But it's so much fucking fun. And yeah, so I would say, Jerica, jump into that first and see if that does anything for you. But I will say, to Jake's point, I did a knockout tour first, and then I did free roam for a bit. And then I did several Grand Prix as well. And I did like jumping into the Grand Prix pretty early too, because to Jake's point, especially in free roam, I'm like, wait, I don't think I should be seeing this part of the track yet. But with Grand Prix, since like he said, it's the way that they want you to see the game. But yeah, I would try knockout tour first. Jordan, did you get into knockout tour at all? Oh, sorry, Jerica, what you got?
No, well, I was sort of, before we go into it, but I was like sort of hoping, because I haven't been reading a whole lot about it, and I'm sure like more information was coming out up to launch for it, but I was hoping for a more single like player, like not a narrative, but like a single player mode that intertwined everything. And that's sort of like what my brain was expecting. So when I hopped in and I was like, okay, free roam, I guess, is where I'm going to start the story in this game. And not that it has one, but like, that's what I was thinking before going into it. And I just wasn't as informed. So I'll definitely take your advice and go with that path.
Kayla?
I have a question as the not knower of not a lot of Mario Kart, only from what I've seen on select streams. But what makes the free roam special about Mario Kart, and what is it that makes the single player experience impactful as well? Because that typically at Mario Kart is something I only will really want to play with friends. So what about it has made you guys, want to play it solo? Or so that's kind of 2 questions. What's special about the free roam, and then what's special about playing it on your own?
Jordan, why don't you take the free roam one? Because I know you put a lot of time into free roam. Does anything jump out to you for that?
I put a decent amount. So it, as far as I'm aware, you can only do free roam single player.
Oh, okay.
Like not split screen. I mean,
you can not couch co-op.
Correct. Like I'm pretty sure that you can meet up with your friends. I remember seeing that in the directs. But yeah, I tried to hop into free roam while I was playing with my daughter, and go ahead and just you're gonna get a lot of exclamation point kids today. Just go. But like I couldn't do it. Yes, I couldn't do it. So we went back to Grand Prix. We did like a split screen Grand Prix, which is pretty fun actually. But the free roam, I was having fun with it. So I kind of almost did the in between for what Jake was talking about. So I, first of all, couldn't find the free roam button because it's not like it. So what it does, like there's options. It's like, okay, Grand Prix, Knockout Tour, Battle Mode, blah, blah, blah. And then like over to in the corner is like, oh, hit the plus button for free roam mode. I'm like, why is it like tucked away? Why is it
very weird?
Yeah. So I couldn't find it at first. So I went and did my first Grand Prix on 50cc. I don't care. I haven't played Mario Kart in like a decade. I'm trying to remember how to play this game.
How you want to play, baby?
Yeah, exactly. But so I went and did that. And then I found the free roam mode and did it and kind of stuck to that same area as the first Grand Prix. And I feel like that kind of was pretty cool for me because obviously you get to see what's in between the tracks. And I remember people talking about it being a bit sporadic, but I didn't think it was as sporadic as they made it seem like it was going to be. I mean, I was seeing P-switches left and right. I was seeing little like, the Yoshi Burger stores. I was seeing other like little things that you can go do over to the side. I feel like it was spaced out pretty nicely. It's not that it's completely jam-packed like you would expect from like maybe a Forza, but it still has enough in there to keep me interested. Like, if you drive for more than 30 seconds in any direction, you're going to see a couple things you can go do. And that's fine by me. So I really did enjoy that. And then went back and did a little bit more Grand Prix. But yeah, the free roam, like there was a couple of things I didn't know from the previews were going to be options from the P switches. Like, not that they're like shocking that they would be in the game, but just like, oh, it's more than just follow the blue coins or follow the checkpoints. Like this is the most mild of things. Like you can hit the P switch and get thrown into like a spontaneous race, basically.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different options.
This is cool. I can't beat that freaking spontaneous race for some reason. I don't understand. But it's still like, the variety that's there is nice. And it's fun to like, if you want to go back and practice, so you can go back and maybe get first place next time you do that Grand Prix or know your way around for Knockout Tour or whatever. It's nice. It's a good option. And then the little photo mode's cute, Yeah. There's nothing that's like gonna blow your mind, but it's got everything in that you would hope would be in there, I think.
Yeah. There are
little poses, little expressions,
There are three things to me that jump out about the free roam mode, I think, Kayla, really fast. I think one, it's a good way and a quick way to unlock costumes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Now you're talking my language. Jericho's in.
Because you can unlock costumes during any race as long as you find like the special power-up thing. But when you're in free roam mode, I mean, you can grab the thing and just like wait for it to respond. You could like totally cheese it if you want. So there's that. I think also I was on a walk earlier with Rose, and I think the two things that then jumped to my mind before that one was I see free roam as a way to just like play around while watching something too. Because I'm sort of between Jordan and the larger kind of opinion that free roam mode feels a bit empty. And that I don't think I think if someone says it feels empty, I feel like that's a misjudgment personally.
I see.
Because I mean, I probably put 30 to 45 minutes into free roam mode, and I was never like, okay, can something pop up here? But it's the kind of thing where I could see someone maybe not having as much time with it. So then I think the secret sauce for free roam mode is the hanging out with your friends instead of let's all do a round of Fortnite. Let's all just fuck around in free roam mode.
Yeah.
Go into photo mode, put our characters in funky positions. And there are already so many Easter eggs. I can only imagine how deep the well goes in Easter eggs in this game that no one has even found yet. So I feel like it's a little mix of those three things for me. It's not something that I'm going to put the most time into, but I'll play with it for sure.
Awesome. I was just curious because I'm normally, you know, it also is kind of like reinventing a bit of like what Mario Kart is. So the concept to me of like not having like seen a ton about it with gameplay is it's interesting to think about from like your typical Mario Kart. So cool.
Yeah, and back to my point real quick, like just to reinforce it, that again, I did not actually play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch. I don't think I played it at all. Like from anyone, didn't go to like someone's house and play it or anything like that. I did play the original 8 on the Wii U, but it had been that long since I played it.
Wow.
And so like, yeah, again, I was on 50cc, so I was still getting first place in all the races, but like I was seriously, how do I charge a jump, and how do I grind, and how do I like time all the oh my god, drifting, all that stuff. And so being able to jump from Grand Prix into free roam and just kind of like practice it a little bit and be like, oh, this is how I like nail down the timing of like when to press the button versus when to like joggle the joysticks. Like it was very helpful for me. Joggle, that's a new word. You can run that.
Yeah. I know. It's I think
Jangle the
everybody
joggles.
understand joggle.
I'm joggling my shit right now.
Google's in chat too.
Who up joggling they joysticks?
Correct. Kayla, you had a second question. Do you remember it? Because I don't.
Oh, you kind of answered it, but I was wondering like how this lends to like the single player experience if you were to just be playing it individually. But you kind of have answered that with your.
I think that there's something to say for like this mode's existence at all. I think Kayla, what you were initially asking was like single player differing via like versus the other Mario Karts, and really like the experience that you had on previous Mario Karts was buy it on launch or whenever you get it, do Grand Prix mode a few times, maybe try to beat your own scores on time trials. But for the most part, Mario Kart becomes this kind of thing that lives there like on the side that you just boot up when you have friends over or when you're hopping online to play in a group. And it's not really like a single player experience. I mean, if I go percentage wise for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, how much I played single player versus how much I played multiplayer, it's got to be like 2% single player, 98% multiplayer. Whereas this one already, I've put in more time cumulative in the 4 hours that I streamed it playing alone than I did single player in any of the more recent Mario Karts and any of the Mario Karts probably.
Very nice.
I'm sold.
Patrick,
you're muted.
Fucking damn it, Patrick. Any other final thoughts on Mario Kart before we move on?
Oh, I have so many. Okay, so it sounds like
who's the hottest character?
Yeah.
It's fuck, that's right. Questions.
Pauline is really hot, and I unlocked like a skin tight suit for her, and she does this little hip wiggle, and you can rotate the characters in the menu like in Fortnite if you want to, and there's plenty to see.
That short was hysterical.
I've got a little viral moment going on with that one. I really want to just talk briefly. I feel like we're doing it a disservice if we don't talk about like some of the key differences from Mario Kart 8 from like a gameplay perspective. And what I've noticed with this game is that it seems like it is easier to learn and harder to master. Whereas Mario Kart 8, it's definitely easy to be decent at that game, and it takes time to get good, but there's only so much that you can do, and a lot of the stuff that you do is just like repeatedly doing your drift boosts and looking for those shortcuts and things like that. Whereas this game has so much more on the table for the way that you move around, from not only drift boosting, but now you have the charge jump, you have the grinds, and you have the boost that you get from like hopping onto a wall or off of a wall. Even more so than Mario Kart 8, you're constantly hitting that right trigger button to adjust your character and flip around, not only like vertically, but horizontally in the way that you are, going. And it seems like there's probably going to be a way higher skill ceiling on this game, especially with the fact that the courses are laid out on an open map. Sometimes those open areas are still accessible when you're playing it on like a Grand Prix style. So I can only imagine what like the actual competitive Mario Kart scene will look like once the dust settles on this a little bit and the Switch 2 is more diversified. I think it's gonna be really interesting to watch Mario Kart World played at a high level. It's very, very cool.
I agree. Especially, the rail stuff and the wall stuff, I've not really been able to figure out. Especially the wall stuff. The rails, usually you just got to find it and drive onto it. Sometimes you have to jump onto it. But I was surprised at how not intuitive it was. But I think at first I was like, oh, that feels like a friction point. But I think to what you're saying, Jake, I think that's like a skill thing. I think it's a figure out how to do it because that will make you better at Mario Kart World.
It took hours for that to click for me. Like I had a situation where I realized halfway through a cup, I was like, oh, I haven't jumped or like wall run once. I'm playing this like it's Mario Kart 8. And then I had to like turn that on in my and start aiming for things. And then when you really get into that flow state, the courses are so expertly designed, it seems like, where there are some really fun, like Tony Hawk style transitions where it just makes sense to like, if you hop on this wall and you're riding on the left side and then you hop off at the right time while pointing the control stick right and kind of float towards the center, you'll hop onto that rail and then you can go right again onto the right wall and everything just kind of links together. Next thing you know, you've gone from 11th place to 3rd place. I don't want to ramble too much, but the other thing that I'm just remembering right now is we haven't talked about the fucking chaos, the innate chaos that is
24.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
That's
good.
true. That's true.
It doesn't always affect you, but when it does, it is so notable where like there were multiple times where I'm like, I have never had a clusterfuck like this ever in a Mario Kart game.
Yeah.
There were just so many characters all at once. First off, running buttery fucking smooth, 60 frames
Yeah.
locked and docked, baby. And everybody just colliding, and I'm getting pummeled by shell after star after, like, it is absolutely insane and chaotic. And I can imagine when Patrick was talking about the knockout tour, that some of those moments where it's really tense and there's like a bunch of people fending for that spot, that's gonna get really, really fucking cool.
We gotta get 24 of our friends.
Hey, maybe this Saturday. Middle of the pack in a Mario Kart World race is like hell, because there is so much, like 8th to like 14th is the fucking worst, in the best way.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's a great point, Jake. I forgot, in one of the Grand Prix I did earlier, it was one of those like, I can't believe this is like my 6th race, and I just went from 19th to 1st by the end of the race, and I felt like God.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it was the fucking best.
And Jake, to your point, or to like the 4th race of the Mushroom Cup, the DK Spaceport, there is a part toward the end of it where you can like, which I actually was pretty proud of myself that I like, at least I had figured out at least how to like jump from rail to rail, and it felt so good. Because there's like, it's one of those things where there's like, there may be 2 or 3, and then there's only 2, and then there's like, then the 2 are on the other side, and so you have to keep switching back and forth if you want to stay on the rails. And it felt so fun to do it.
It has a lot of those like moments that are very like, you know, Nintendo 64 Koopa Troopa Beach has like the notorious waterfall cave that you can drive through, where if you have like the boost or you're going fast enough and you hit it the right thing, you can skip like a good portion of the map and pop out the other side of the waterfall. And that always stood out to me in the Nintendo 64 game, because there were only a couple jumps like that. Wario Stadium had the one where you could fuck your friends by hitting the lightning bolt and making them drop. There seems to be a lot of that in the grinding features, like Cog is talking about there on that DK Spaceport, where it's like you see it and you're like, oh, I see the fucking vision. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do right now. And it's like, I gotta get on this thing, and I'm gonna have to get right somehow to get over that barrel and onto that rail. And you try to do it and you fucking fail. But that happens like really a bunch of times. And then DK Spaceport is a perfect example, which, by the way, that fucking level being themed off of the original Donkey Kong, bro,
is
and like,
so
oh my god,
good, Jake.
all the scaffolding and stuff. Dude, we could do another 2 hours on Mario Kart. Like, final thoughts, I guess, for me, I promise I'll shut up about it, is like the quality of the courses. They are so dense and they get so fucking crazy, and that reinforces, I think, what is important about doing Grand Prix first, because like stumbling on to Wario Shipyard would be so unfortunate, whereas experiencing it first, like the way that it's meant to be experienced, is so much better. And then I think that like the last thing we have to talk about, yes, okay, High Score Weekly and Cirrus just nailed it. The fucking soundtrack is crazy. Gomage be damned. We don't need you, Expedition 33. Mario Kart World is here to take.
There's room for both, Jake.
I don't think so. Only one award, maybe a nice silver trophy for France. But here's the thing: I think that the like renditions of some of these songs are so fucking incredible. Oh my god, everyone's calling me bald. The renditions of some of these classic songs are so fucking incredible.
Yes.
It is ridiculous. And there's like really cool musical moments that happen depending on like the time of day in free roam, where like at one point I slowed down. I was like, oh, what is this vibe? And I just kind of rotated the camera. Oh, fuck. I just remembered how cool the Wario costume was, where he's like a biker and he has a little fucking ponytail. Okay, stop. Mute my mic. Mute my mic.
Somebody mute his mic. A couple other things that came to me as you were talking about your final thoughts. Also, just like the general style of this game and the little bits and pieces that they added to it. Like when the blue shell hits, there's this like comic book looking kaboom that happens. And there's all sorts of little tweaks like that throughout that it's just like oozing with style in a way that I feel like Mario Kart usually has a very like specific style, but I feel like this is elevated in a lot of ways for me, which has been very fun. And yeah, to your point about the soundtrack stuff, I at some point just like stumbled into the Wii Rainbow Road, which is my favorite of the Rainbow Roads, and I was like, oh god, I wasn't a Rainbow Road. I was just like in some ice cream park. But and I was in free roam mode where they just, I think, loop through different shit. But one thing, if I could make one complaint about this game so far, and that will be my final thought. I love ending on a negative note. And then I have a quick question for Jake, and then we'll move on to the next topic. I'm surprised at how some of the maps feel the face that Kayla is stuck on right now. I'm surprised at how some of the maps are really close to previous maps. Like I can't remember the name of the map, but I want to say it's a GameCube or a Wii Beach one. I forget which one, but there's a course in this game that is very similar to that course, and I was surprised by that. I figured there wouldn't be very many similarities with the way that they had been showing the game, but it seems, and there was this one other course that I don't remember the other one, but I was like, oh, this really feels like one that we've had before.
You fucked up and didn't mute my mic, but I think the ones that you're speaking about are, there's like a Koopa Troopa Beach one that is very reminiscent of a previous one, and that's one of the weird, like, it's a circuit, but it's a small circuit. It's 5 laps.
Yeah.
We're all saying Patrick's gonna love it because it's this one's baby park. You know, it's very, very small. And
there's a couple of those.
20-second lap. Yeah, and then there's also one that's very reminiscent of like Maple Treeway. Which is of course like one of the hits, so it makes sense they're trying to, you know, evoke those same emotions out of you for sure.
Yeah.
But if we're doing, you know, criticisms and whatnot, one thing that I found, and maybe I'm wrong, it could be hidden in there, but I scraped the menus pretty well, both in game and from the main menu. I didn't see a way. I had in my head, I was like, I would like to turn sound effects down a little bit and turn music up, because sometimes the fucking, you know, the sound of like the buzzing of the item wheel or the crash, the crashes are so crazy in this game.
Yeah.
That's another thing. In Mario Kart 8, you just kind of get hit and you spin, and it's always the same thing. I was playing as Birdo yesterday, and the way that I got hit by a red shell and my vehicle careened like ass over tea kettle, like Birdo broke its neck. It was absolutely fucking insane. But it looked like there were no sound options, like individual sound options. I couldn't put sound effects down. I couldn't put music up. I'm not sure if that's something they could patch in or if that was featured in other Mario Kart games, but I feel like it fucking should be.
These losers are still talking about Mario Kart. Dang.
Got 'em.
Wow.
I do have
I'm
one
just
final
joking, I'm just
question.
joking.
So in the Discord earlier, we got some questions from various folks in the community, and High School Weekly sent one for each of us. And the question that High School Weekly sent for Jake was about Mario Kart World. He said, Jake, lots of feet in Mario Kart World. Give me your top 3.
Top 3 feet. Well, obviously, it's tough. I think the hooves count?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do cows have hooves?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You're good.
Well, I don't know. That
Onlyhooves.com.
feels like a horse thing, kind of. Hooves count. Okay. I think the cow is really good. The udders are a little unsettling. At some point, I was playing as the cow, and when the cow fucking wins, it goes, "Ah," and its udders just kind of, it's got a real like tits in the air type of fucking vibe to it. I kind of dig
Over the
it.
shoulder tits.
Someone knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
I'm going third place cow. Second place, hear me out. A lot of fanfare about the cow. Loving the penguin. The penguin, very cute. Very cute, and got those little feet. We love to see it. And then number 1 feet, probably you got to give it to Birdo. Those things are big.
Yeah. Jake, just a quick personal question, if I may.
Sure.
Do you consider yourself a furry?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it comes up a lot. I'm very, pro whatever floats your boat.
Yeah,
Cats
no, me too.
on me about feet in the mouth. That's like a whole thing that comes up
Okay.
all the time. Not a special interest of mine, nor is being a furry. If I met the right person and they wanted me to wear a fursuit and treat them special,
Yeah.
Wow. We love an accepting king.
I know. I
truly.
love that. I noticed that none of them were humanoid. So I was just curious.
oh yeah. Well, like if I was really like ranking, it's like Daisy, fucking Rosalina, and Pauline over 1, 2, and 3.
But
course.
we're
Those
probably
ones
wearing
look
Lunar
like they
behavior.
fucking,
you can't see
those ones
little
look like they
piggies.
taste the best.
Oh
You
no,
actually
we gotta
see their
go.
toes?
We gotta
Next
move
question,
on.
please.
We gotta
Next question,
move on.
please. Please, Lord. Next question.
I do want to see. Jericho was trying to get something about the piggies out, and I wanted to hear it.
I just want to know about those pigs. Well, you don't see their toes in the game, like the women, the human ladies, right? You don't see any. They have shoes on, I assume. Hopefully, if I'm riding a motorcycle or something, they need to be wearing shoes. It's
Sure.
They
dangerous.
better.
So, like,
Yeah,
I can only imagine what their actual feet look like. Maybe we should draw them.
you gotta commission that art.
Yeah.
True.
Well, I'll
It's out
accept
there.
it.
It's
Friendship,
already
where
out
are you?
there.
I was having a
Further
conversation.
research, it does.
Can I
seem that
ask a
human
question to the
females'
panel?
toes are not? Yeah.
Do you think you could draw something accurate enough or detailed enough that it could interest you?
No.
That could what?
So what?
Say,
Are you
like,
saying could I
a
draw
picture-
well enough to get hard?
Like, could you get turned on by something that you draw? Like, you could draw like doesn't have to be like a fake creature, like you could draw a beautiful woman or man.
God,
Whatever
I
Nothing
wish.
I draw has that
I
capability.
wish.
Let's just
Yeah,
go
no.
ahead and
Oh,
I
I
nothing
draw
draw
stick
I
figures.
stick figures. You know,
For sure.
Audrey's learning. My girlfriend's learning to draw, and I'm like, as soon as you can draw anything that will get us money, you better fucking draw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
ready.
off the rails for real.
I wish I could. Wish I
Yeah.
could.
How did we get here?
I don't know. Oh, hoofs.
High Score Weekly, of
Hooves.
course.
And
High Score Weekly, of
High Score
course.
Weekly started it. Yeah.
Don't pin this
Um,
on him.
Yeah, sure.
Uh,
Let's take a quick break from the games, but we will come back to the games, so don't fret. I want to talk about accessories. Switch 2 is launched with a ton of accessories. We got pro controllers, we got cases, we got cameras. Did anybody get any accessories, Jordan? Anybody
I did not
prepared that
get
didn't have to
any
leave?
accessories. This is the lightest launch I've ever had. I do plan on getting a case, probably not first party. I'll grab some cheapy off of Amazon that lets me transport the dock as well, because Switch being the most portable console when you're a streamer isn't that portable, because you have to bring the fucking dock everywhere if you're going to stream on the go. So I left with literally just the fucking console and nothing else.
Nice.
I bought $100 worth of eShop credit.
I love that.
Nice.
Do you think you're gonna get any like pro controller or anything like that, Jake?
Chat is starting to sell me on the pro controller, but I need to hear more. I don't know.
You'll hear more.
Brought my pro controller from the Nintendo Switch 1, which is still going from launch day, one of my favorite controllers of all time. I'm anxious to get rid of it. Like, but if it's a step up, if you're telling me that my best controller is now even better and has that same battery life and all those same quality features plus more, I can be
Just because we're talking about it, Jordan, we'll come back to you for the case. You've been so patient and so brave. We'll come back. But this fucking controller, Jake, you gotta get it.
Really?
Best controller I've ever had. I can
Get it.
best controller I've ever had in my life. I never would have thought I would have said it would have been a Nintendo controller. But oh my god.
It feels so fucking good, Jerica. Something about these sticks.
They're butter. It's got butter on it. Lube. What's on here?
Yes. There is water-based
jelly
lube
on my
on
controller?
this fucking controller.
Did I ever
It is
show you
so
my
smooth.
new move with my, how I play Expedition 33? I could show you here.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's it.
Whoa.
Oh.
Flick the joystick.
If I could use this, and also these back paddles are in the best location I've ever had in my life. I'm not accidentally pushing this thing. Oh, it just fits so well into my hands. And I just do this all day. I'm just doing this. Feel like that?
For
If
audio
these
listeners,
things-
Not a
small
fan.
circular motions.
Yeah.
We're coming up on some TOS, and we need
No, I don't think so. But man,
Amazing.
if this, I know there's all this fucking hallway effect or whatever bullshit. I don't really know what any of that means. They're saying
mean?
that this not supposed to have like drift. Maybe that's not even the thing about drift. Maybe I'm conflating two different
Fucking
ideas. Doesn't matter.
joysticks for
You're correct.
nerds, dude.
But if
Hall
this,
effect sticks.
I will be so disappointed if these things go bad because they're the best sticks I've ever felt in my entire life.
Same.
Wow.
Best sticks.
God, that's so
Officially.
good. Cirrus in the chat is saying if it had proper triggers, I'd get rid of all
What?
the other controllers I use on PC. I don't see a problem with the triggers personally.
What's wrong
but
with them?
I will
What's
say
proper, not proper about them?
it doesn't have the kind of triggers that can like give you resistance like Xbox
It's,
and PlayStation have.
it's the lack of
okay.
analog triggers. So when you press it, it's just basically you're pressing a button. It's either on or off, as
Got it.
opposed to like, you know, when you're
Oh,
playing
intensity.
Forza on an Xbox, you can give it half the fucking pull and it won't
Okay,
accelerate.
okay.
pedals
That
to
makes
the metal.
sense.
That's
like,
fair.
Like holding the rocket launcher down halfway before I shot Patrick out of the sky and his banshee. Like
In
that kind of
Halo.
thing. It can't-
Yeah.
Yeah, like the one round that you did better than me. No, you did better than me in most rounds actually. So Jordan, you got a case that you were so brave to go get. Tell us.
Yes. Yeah, this is just on from Best Buy. I think the brand is like Next or something like that. It was like $21. I just wanted to get something because I actually am going on a little work trip next week. So I was like, I'm definitely taking this with me. So I need a case. And I didn't think to get the case like with my Nintendo order or my Walmart order, but this is also half the price. So yeah, it kind of worked out for me anyway. But
yeah.
it's pretty nice. So it has like, I think, space for 10 game cards. And also, if you do still have your OG Switch, where did I put that? Oh, yeah, it has these little pads you can put on the side that comes with that you can that pads the original Switch or the OLED as well. So you can use it for any model of Switch.
How about that?
Yes, Kayla.
I have a question. Does it come with any sort of case or carrying device at all? Nothing. It's just like loose.
Never does.
Interesting. Wait, does it not? It never comes with one.
They
Huh.
were really ballsy with putting it. I mean, I see why the receipts got stapled to the screen because it was facing. It had no protection from the outside. It was ass out, ready to get
Face down.
spanked in the box. Just, I opened it up and there was the display, and I was like, "Man, there's no protection for you. I'm glad you're okay."
Also, but who staples things to a box like that? I've never heard of that before today.
It's giving GameStop.
Yeah.
I
I'm
can
just
do
saying,
a
there could have
whole
been a
2
little-
hours on how inept that company is.
But also,
That's
I
a
don't think
different
it's
podcast.
the best packaging. Why would you have the display on the outside facing outwards? Real
No,
strange.
it's a lot of people made mistakes. It seems.
A lot of people. Yeah.
Not me. Not
Never.
anybody in this
For
panel.
once.
Not
For
sure.
once, yes.
For
All
once.
of us. I'm saying not speaking for you.
Next week or whenever we talk about Switch 2 again, maybe fucking tomorrow. Maybe we'll get spicy and just talk about Switch 2 tomorrow. I also got the GameCube controller, but that's not here yet. I have the Pro controller, which I just shared. I was telling Jordan earlier, I partook in some retail therapy and I basically got like every accessory, and I'm gonna have to return like half of them because it's just so expensive to get all of them. But I was like, ooh, I want to buy that to feel better. I want to buy that to feel better. I'm gonna get the all-in-one case because what if I need to put all of them in one case, Jake? But I was like, I then looked at my credit card statement. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. But I do have the Nintendo case. I didn't think to bring it. But it's a case. It's very simple. It's very thin, like the Switch. I was surprised at how thin the case was. It only kind of covers like that much more. And it came with a screen protector, which I have not put on yet, but I will.
Oh, cool.
And then I also got the Piranha camera, which doesn't release until next week. At least through Best Buy. Maybe it releases other places before next week. I'm not totally positive.
Stunning 480p.
Correct. God, I can't wait to look like it's 2004 again.
Can't wait to, put it somewhere.
No idea.
Camera.
Kayla, I think we're losing you, or you guys are losing me. One of the two is happening.
I can hear everybody.
I can hear everyone.
Everything's fine on my end for everybody.
This is a Patrick issue.
Yep, classic.
But I think we are clear now. I think we're in.
Okay. It was the camera shenanigans that got him.
Sure.
this time.
Jericho,
Yeah.
did you do any accessories other than the Pro Controller?
I thought I was gonna need one of those fancy SD cards, but the amount of games that I'm playing at once, I don't need one. So, and I'm in the same boat. Eventually I'll get a case. You might have sold me on the case that you were describing. So I like a good thin case. I don't need anything extra. Because I have like the original Switch, like Nintendo, just black official case that came with it. And I just love that thing since I've had it. So I want something similar to that. So yeah, a case at some point. But other than that, I don't think I need anything. I thought I needed the SD card, but it's got a lot of space.
I need the GameCube controller.
How many games are you putting on the Switch? Need more space.
Kayla, did you pre-order the GameCube controller?
No, I didn't.
Oh, no.
Do you think I can still get it somehow, or is it like
never
lost in
could
the
get
ether
one.
forever?
You will. It might be a while though.
That's fine. It's okay. It's not a day one necessary thing. What is funny though is Too Much New Toys said they got their GameCube controller, but not their Switch 2, which is really sad.
Oh no.
Yeah, but no, I will eventually get it. I don't know why I didn't order it. I think maybe I misunderstood like when it was releasing. I don't know. But they released today too, right?
Says they restocked today. They're probably gone, but go check real quick.
I'm doing it right now. Don't you have to do it through your membership?
Nintendo.
Yes.
In the app? Okay. Got it. Okay.
Shit, I might go.
How much is that? Do you guys know?
60, I think.
Dude, I was
not
just
all of
looking
us
at that
doing
fucking
it right
Pro
now.
Controller. I was like, maybe I should just fucking buy that Pro Controller, and I added it to my cart with tax and shipping. And I was like,
It's
$93, brother. Like for this controller, that's a little better than the one that I already have. That still works good.
Yeah.
It's really good, Jake.
Yeah,
Really
peer pressure. Oh, that was easy.
the controller's worth it.
I told
100%.
immediately.
Yeah, it's nice.
Everyone's saying it's worth it in the chat.
I will get the Pro Controller at some point, but for right now, my Tears of the Kingdom one still works perfectly fine and will function on the Switch too. So I'm like, yeah.
That's fair. That's valid.
Every person is like unanimous in the chat. Like Pro Controller worth it. Also, Costco $10 off right now. Costco members.
I think it's permanent. Maybe not.
Get yourself a fucking pizza on the way out. Same price as the other sucker that played full price.
Rest in peace, churros.
Welcome,
those
Leviticus.
pizzas though are pretty dang good.
Pretty dang good.
I've
never had
a cafeteria type pizza.
I like how many different like shopping centers we've talked about in this live so far. We got Walmart, we got GameStop, we got Costco.
I don't think as many. We've never had this many involved. I think with a launch like this before, like to this extent. So this is wild.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I tried to really lean even further into just spending way too much money that I eventually will just return. They don't let you buy a second GameCube controller on the Nintendo store. There's a one controller limit, at least for now. RIP me. Jerica, this is accessory adjacent.
Okay.
We got a question from High Score Weekly for you. And I'm going to take it potentially as well, but start with you. Are you still worried about OLED after seeing the screen or seeing others review it?
I haven't read any reviews on it, so I have no idea. I would have to check that out. But from I got eyes for high res, deep blacks, vivid colors. That's all I'm looking at right now is OLED screens. But I will say, like, when I put the Switch side by side to transfer my data, that's what I noticed. And I was like, oh, because at first I'm like, oh my God, this is big. This is beautiful. This looks just like my OLED. But then when I put them side by side, I was like, I can see the difference there. But ultimately, it's a way bigger display, which for me is it's a win. Like, it's easier for me to actually play it in handheld mode now. I feel more engaged with it. And then also, like, just the fact that we have better FPS. And the display is not bad. Like, I'm very happy with the quality of the screen, but I know one day we're getting it, and I'm mad about that. I'm just mad because I know it's coming. We just couldn't get it. I wish we got it now because I want it now. I don't want to have to buy another one of these things, but no, display that comes on it, it's good.
It is very good. I remember the very first hands-on previews that came out back in April-ish. Were saying that like it's still not as good as OLED, but it's pretty damn close.
It's close.
I don't know that I would say it's close personally.
Yeah.
But it is still good. Like it's still I don't pick this up and play it and think would have been nice to have OLED.
I I think it's not really for color, but I do think brightness, and I think the sheer size of it makes the balance seem a little closer to me. Maybe that's what it is. Just the fact that the screens are, I'm talking out loud, it makes sense. Larger and brighter display.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what's sort of tricking my eyes to think it looks
For sure.
fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could definitely tell a big difference like color if you have them side by side, but it's okay. I'm not as butthurt about it, but I will bitch about it again when they announce the OLED version. I will.
Sure. Jordan, your finger's up. Why is that?
I was about to make a similar point, but then Leviticus DH put in the chat as well. They say, I'll take 120 hertz and VRR over OLED if they can release an OLED with those features. Ooh, baby. And I think that is the thing. Like, I'm not super techie, so I don't know if what I'm about to say is completely accurate. Someone correct me if it's wrong. But there is something weird with OLED screens and trying to do like VRR and trying to get like the brightness and stuff. Like if you look at the Steam Deck OLED, for example, like it doesn't have as high a refresh rate. I think it caps at like 900 hertz maybe. And it also doesn't have as many nits.
We can definitely have a separate podcast on this topic. This is one of my areas of expertise because I can talk about HDIG all day. I have a guy on YouTube. I'll send you his video. But it's different for every video game. This is another PSA. HDR is never the same on any game. Go and say that. It's not the same on every game. Doesn't matter. You'll have to tweak something with your TV. Anywho.
Hearing you guys talk about this, it just makes me want to remind everyone that I sleep so good every night, not knowing shit about this. It's awesome.
Me too.
Your eyes see the difference, though. Once your eyes see the difference, you're just fucked for life.
Like
my fucking eyes and brain no work so good.
Yo, so. I was gushing over just gushing, just moist. Was it Noah with the update? Just gushing, like is it a gusher? I'm gushing.
It's a gush. Yeah, we got.
There we go. Gush. It's like Kush. I don't know what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Was it Noah in our Discord that had like the games and what kind of updates they had? Someone shared like a spreadsheet.
Yeah, that was Noah.
Very impressed with that. Thank
MVP.
You. Keep me updated when hopefully Pikmin gets some kind of upgrade. I'm real disappointed in Nintendo for Pikmin for lack of an upgrade. It didn't get any love. It didn't. I'm done now. Yet.
Someone posted a fucking spreadsheet in the Discord. Probably Noah.
I love that information. That's exactly what my brain needed. Thank you.
Wow. Amazing.
It's just, I do love that I just love it when people are smarter than me, and Noah's so much fucking smarter than me. I know I can just always go to Noah and be like, hey, Noah, how does this work? And he'll tell me because he's very sweet. Also, Jake, have you ever played on an OLED TV before?
No.
I would love to be your first OLED TV that you
Let us be your first.
You can just stop it first.
Let us be your first.
Let us be your first.
Because you'll if you walk away from an OLED TV and go, I don't see the difference, your eyes don't work.
Well, he can't read.
That's true.
That's true.
That's why this fantasy
don't work.
He can't read, but God, he can fuck like nobody's business.
Nice.
Coal Mines sent us a question. He said, for the casual gamer who couldn't care any less about 30 versus 60 frames per second or 1080 versus 1440p, how much of an upgrade is this really? How is it in handheld? How does it control versus the first Switch? And when he says the first Switch, I interpret that as launch 2017 Switch. Jerica, it sounds like you're gushing over there.
I am. I'm just leaking over here. Let me tell you, Tears of the Kingdom. That's the one I was ready to get back to see how the Switch 2 handled. I wanted to see with my own eyes. But yeah, compared to what I would have to do, because I play primarily in dock mode, like on the OLED television. That's what I'm doing. And one thing I used to do when I was playing Tears of the Kingdom on my Switch, and then I stopped like halfway through that game because I was like, I'm gonna wait for this next Switch Pro that's coming out. Now we're here. I would turn on Pro Motion on my television, so it would make it look like it was 60 FPS.
Sure.
So like, I don't use smooth motion for anything else because you just don't want to use that shit when you're trying to watch movies and stuff. So I would turn it all the way up though when I played Tears of the Kingdom, and it would emulate that. You had none of that on the Switch 1. Like that's the only way I could play, and even handheld mode, like My eyes are just used to 60 FPS now for games. So popping over the Switch, both in dock mode and like handheld mode, to me, Tears of the Kingdom, it was visually different, like in terms of how the game moves. And then like HDR in that game, I haven't looked at HDR in like a few other games, but HDR is just popping in Tears of the Kingdom. God, the game, I didn't think it could look any better. And it does.
It really does.
Really good upgrade for Tears of the Kingdom. Worth the $10 that I paid to upgrade. Totally worth it. I'll give them that.
I think it's one of those things where...
Oh, sorry, really quick. I was going to read Colemines and then kick it to you. Colemine said he never had any issues with Tears of the Kingdom on his launch day Switch that was docked without a single stutter. I think it's not necessarily the stuttering, perhaps. It's just like it is just so much smoother now on this Switch. But if that does, like you said, 30 versus 60 doesn't matter to you. So I think ultimately for you, the answer might be not a big deal. But I think that if you play in handheld mode, huge upgrade from original base Switch to this. But Jordan, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, like, it's one of those things where even if you don't care about the specific exact frame rates you're getting and all that sort of thing, like, it just looks better. You know what I mean? It just,
load times are faster too on Tears of the Kingdom.
The load times are
Tears
a
of the
lot
Kingdom
faster.
It is. Yeah.
And so I have I've kept the save file. Like, there's the little thing that you can do in the game. I can't remember if it was a membership thing or just they put it in the base game for Tears of the Kingdom, but you could like drop a medallion wherever you wanted to. You could just fast travel to anytime without it being an actual like tower or whatever else. And I left it down there like right before the final stretch of the game. And so like anytime I wanted to, whether it was for like a video essay I was making or just to go do it for funsies, I could just pop back down and do the final battle again, like with Ganondorf and all that. And so that was what I did today. Like, I don't know, I'm sure we're going to get to this at some point, but that was one of the things that I did. So tried Mario Kart, of course, fired at Metroid Dread just to see the load time difference. And it was better, even without an official patch or none of that. It was a little bit better. But definitely wanted to see, put on the TV 4K 60 with Tears of the Kingdom. Because I'm kind of like Colemines where, like, I don't need a 60 FPS game. I adored Hellblade. That game was locked at 30. You know what I mean? Like from last year, the second game. At least it was for me because my laptop was about to burst into flames just making it run at all. So I was happy to at least roll credits on it. But oh my goodness, dude! Like, without spoiling anything for those who have not reached it yet, like there is a part before you get to Ganondorf where like you're fighting. It's like a couple of waves of enemies, and I was like, oh, I can actually see every motion of the sword being swung. And it's like, it just looks so much better. It reminds me of seeing that new footage of Age of Imprisonment a couple weeks ago where, you know, what's it? Mushu style?
Musa?
Is that what they call it?
Musa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Russo Brothers. Got it. The Russo Brothers style games where there's like a whole mob of enemies coming at you, and in the old games, they'll be so much fun to play, but yet it will be like it'd be like a PowerPoint presentation trying to get to the end of that level. But it was so much better, and like seeing all the effects that they do, like in these final battles at the end of the game, and like it just looks so much better. Even if you don't know or care about the specifics of why it looks better, it just does.
Sure.
Huh. So, Jordan, did you say it's Hellblade's locked to 30?
Yeah.
Oh. 30 I think you can... franchise?
Stop. Jake hates mental health confirmed. Wow. Damn.
Mental health and women.
Really hate
to
see it.
Feature.
Oh no, not both.
Yeah.
Bald take.
I feel like Colemines in the chat bald take. Yeah, we got to keep that. Colemine says, I've played a few games at 60 FPS on my PS5. Miles Morales was the first, but it really just didn't change much for me. All I care about is if the game's fun and that it is consistent graphically and performance. I feel like for me, if a game starts at 30, I accept that. And I don't need, I'm not one of these people that'll be like, oh, my eyes are bleeding at 30 frames per second. But if I go from performance mode at 60 frames to fidelity mode at 30 frames, it feels like my brain is glitching. Like that's when I can really tell a difference, when I see it back to back. So it's the kind of thing where I bet if I played Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch 2 for an hour and then tried to boot it up on my Switch OLED, I would really notice the difference. It would be bad. Yeah. Because I only put in like 10 minutes to Tears of the Kingdom earlier, and I was so impressed in those 10 minutes.
Yeah. The thing for me, at least with my experience of Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch OLED, was it generally did run well, honestly. Like, you wouldn't notice a drop here or there, but one of the worst parts, or one of the worst times for the drops, was if you had more than one of the sages active at any time. They were like traveling with you or whatever, like their little spirits or whatever you want to call it. Like, because you could have all of them active at once. And if you had 2 or 3, it was starting to chug.
Sure.
But no longer.
No longer.
No more chug.
No more chug.
I've got a little bit of a take about the upgrade that you were asking about, that this whole conversation has been about so far.
Yeah.
About the physical, like, form factor, I guess, of the console. I really kept on making comparisons last night while I was doing like the unboxing to how similar it feels. Like, you can see this as a positive or a negative. I think a net positive. It almost feels like a mid-generational refresh or update that Nintendo is so famous for doing. Like, this is the most similar a Nintendo console has ever been to its predecessor, outside of like a Game Boy Color to a Game Boy or a Game Boy Pocket, you know?
Sure.
And the way they have typically iterated from console to console, I think about like the Game Boy Advance, then the SP, and then the Micro. How each one of those, they kind of toyed with things, and they're like, oh, well, this button press is a little different on the SP, and then they kind of revert and go back on the Micro, and it plays like the original Game Boy Advance buttons, but they're a little cleaner, kind of that spot in between. It does feel like somewhat of like a mixed and mastered. When you hold this thing in your hands, I mean, the magnets, we already addressed that very early on. It just feels like a higher quality product in my hands, and it does feel like a nice upgrade. I feel like I got my money's worth here.
Yeah, it feels good. I think anytime there's a handheld console at all, like, so this happened for me for the original Switch with the OLED, and now with the Switch 2, where like, at least for the first few days, maybe, like, it does start to feel weird, like right in my palms, like where it kind of curves and you're holding it weird, you know, like it starts to get a little bit uncomfortable after like an extended sesh, but that kind of goes away within a few days usually. And yeah, when it's not uncomfy from my little palms, it feels real good.
Oh, yo, it's your little bitty palms.
Little palms.
Too much.
Jordan, a question for you from High School Weekly. Have you tried mouse mode or seen people review it? And will you exclusively do a Metroid Prime 4 mouse only run?
So I have seen people talking about it, not since launch. So I was more focused on actually setting it up and stuff in between, like popping into work meetings or whatever, than I was looking at other reviews and stuff. But that was one of the things I've seen the most from all the hands-on previews from outlets was, holy crap, the mouse feels great, especially for Metroid Prime 4. I did not do any sort of exclusive run on the remaster with the motion controls. I tried it for like a little bit and like got my ass kicked by some wasps, like one of the first bosses in the game, because it couldn't turn around fast enough. But I did play the trilogy on the Wii, so you know I've done that kind of thing before. But I'm definitely going to be giving it a really solid go on Prime 4. I won't commit to an exclusive run with it because I do want to kind of try out all the methods and see what really feels better for me, like in how I'm going to be playing it, where like I'm sitting out on the couch or whatever, versus if I had anything that's solid next to me to actually run the mouse on. But I'm excited to try that out. And I mean, fingers crossed they do give it a little patch for the remaster to add the mouse controls, because they had every other. What was that, Patrick?
Nothing.
They had every other control method. Looked like you were putting guns in your mouth for me talking about Metroid for too long.
No, actually, I could. That wasn't my intention.
Okay.
Let me be clear. I was just putting my crossed fingers in my mouth because my brain is broken.
I thought you were going. Okay.
I know that would have been better. Let's say I did that. Kayla, I have 2 questions for you. One from me, one from High School Weekly.
Okay.
Well, the one from High School Weekly is not a question, so we'll start there. He said,
okay,
no question or joke, but I'm going to pre-install Final Fantasy VIII on your Switch 2 since I'm holding it hostage. So you have that to look forward to.
Amazing. You better not open my Switch. I get that experience myself
you
here.
Better not, Josh.
Even though, thank you, that is how I secured the bag. Thank you to all the friends who have supplied their friends with Switches. Thank you. But yes, no, that's funny. What was your real question?
My real question, it kind of goes off the back of that question.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say that it's piggybacking off that question because I hate that phrase. But Kayla, what are you most looking forward to about your Switch 2? You know, we've been yapping about it for 120 over here, a tight 80. What do you think tomorrow is going to be like for you?
Oh, I'm really excited for just the whole experience. I'm not like the biggest like long-term Nintendo fangirl. And so this is my first like real excitement I've felt in a long time for like unboxing and like the actual launch experience. When we did the whole like, go through history and time with Nintendo, majority of any console I have had from Nintendo is not like a launch console. It's like a when I can afford it console. I mean, which still like this is a big, I sold my old Switch. But all that to say, I'm most excited for the GameCube adaptations on the Switch. And I'm curious if any of you have tried out that experience of playing like something that's been would the right term be ported or would it be like
I
what
think
would
it's
that
emulated, I believe.
emulated? I'm very curious if anybody here has had experience doing that. And I really just want to do it with the actual GameCube controller if I hopefully get it. But I am also really excited for Mario Kart, especially after hearing you guys talk about it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, I know Jerica played some, but I jumped into the F-Zero game and I played like 10 minutes of Wind Waker, but I was like, I have the GameCube controller coming, so I want to wait to
Yeah.
play
Yeah,
at
that's a
least
really good
Zelda
call.
with that.
Yeah.
But F-Zero, what Jake, was it you that was like people aren't going to realize that F-Zero GX fucking rips? That game fucking rips.
Yeah, dude, it's fast. The 60 frames per second are locked. I'm assuming if it's emulated well. I mean, that game, outside of being full screen, feels like something that could have released on launch day for like the Switch 1.
Yeah. It's
Crazy.
great. But I will say the little bit that I played of Wind Waker, even though I am going to wait for my GameCube controller, I don't know if I'm going to play much of it because there's like a weird barrier in my brain with this kind of a game where it has like the borders on the side and it's locked in that square.
Yeah.
There's something about it that like grinds my gears a little bit and it's really distracting to me. Jerica, you were playing it earlier. What was your experience with Wind Waker?
It just pissed me off, so I stopped playing.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I guess I'm
You
gonna
don't
have to
have
get a
one
Wii
anywhere.
U from Jake or somebody. Because like, I just want to play the HD version. It's
Yeah.
not the same. I thought it would do fine enough, and I just wanted to see how it ran on the system, and it runs fine. And but to your point, like it's when you know there's a better version of that game. For me personally, it's tough to play on the little box and how I used to play at our old tube TVs back in the day.
Did y'all not do much of the other systems or
some?
Is it,
not
or
much,
is it
though.
just more egregious now for the GameCube to you?
For me, it does feel a little more egregious in the GameCube version for some reason. However, I didn't do a ton of all the other ones. Like I've dabbled a little bit in each of them. I think the most that I ever did, I played the Minish Cap on what is that, Game Boy Advanced?
Yes.
I did that, a full run through of that, which was my first time playing it, which I really enjoyed. And that I played in handheld mode. So I haven't tried the GameCube yet in handheld mode. Maybe that's the unlock.
I
for me.
haven't either. So that might be the magic sauce.
Because Minish Cap didn't bother me at all, and I played that entire thing in handheld mode. So maybe I'll try that and report back.
I pretty much exclusively play in handheld, so I mean, there's that.
Because even like when you went back and unless you have an adapter, so the Wii U version, of course, is going to fix this. So let's just pretend it doesn't exist. I'm talking about other stuff. If you had the SNES Mini, if you had the eShop, whatever's like for these consoles, like that's just going to be the default is going to have those borders, and so like, I am who I am. I played through Super Metroid like multiple times on the Switch emulation for the SNES, and like, so I'm just kind of used to it. I played some Game Boy Advance games on there too, like, so I haven't actually tried it yet. I did fire up F-Zero, but actually had a chance to play it yet. But I guess I'm just kind of used to it, like from other previous emulations, and I don't see it bothering me. But I think it would be more palatable on handheld mode because obviously, if you're throwing that like the black bars up on your big ass TV on the wall. That's different than like having little black bars when you
That's
already
a
have the bezel.
good point.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I think that is that might be something that would make it a little less,
The sauce.
intense. I need that. I need to try it.
Also, I think there's a clear correlation between being more accepting of a game that looks like Super Metroid, old 8-bit, 16-bit, whatever bit,
Oh yeah.
versus Wind Waker or Soul Calibur, even for those examples. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try it in handheld mode and see if that does anything for me. Another question that High Score Weekly sent in for me is there a prediction or opinion you had about Switch 2 that is now wrong? Can be positive or negative. I do feel like this is a leading question, but I'll take it.
He just assumes you have a wrong opinion somewhere.
Well, sure, but I wonder if this is specifically about the launch lineup, potentially, since I was yelling about that last week.
Well, you kind of changed your mind last week too, though.
A little bit, yeah, I did a little bit. And for that, I say too early to tell. More data needed. However, I will say, earlier as I was scrolling through, I went to the eShop 4 times.
That doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I went to the eShop 4 times today just to be like, is there anything I'm forgetting about? Is there anything I'm missing on this? Because now when you go on the eShop of the Switch 2, there's like a upgraded for Switch 2 or like Switch 2 exclusive type games. And it goes through like the whole list of what they have. And I would get to the bottom each time and I'm like, because I'm not going to play Cyberpunk. I play that on my PC. I'm not going to play Split Fiction. Like what we talked about last week. I won't rehash that, but I got to the bottom multiple times and I'm like, I wish there was more. I wish there was more than Mario Kart. However, Mario Kart is fucking deep. And that's going to keep me busy for quite some time.
But to your point, though, I didn't think I even verbatim said that like, oh, Mario Kart's gonna be enough to like carry us to the finish line. There's so much game, and it truly is. But like, a part of me, and I know we just have like a few more weeks or next month until we get Bonanza, but whatever. But I wish there was like another smaller scale like single player game. Like, because I wanted something else while I was having Mario Kart downloaded. Maybe like something not as huge as and I was ready to play something, or at least like something I can go back and forth to. Like, okay, this is this kind of game, and then I have like this small like special like maybe they could have done. Not just say they could have done a Wind Waker remake. Sure. I know that's a lot to ask for, but maybe like a smaller experience somewhere else in the lineup. I think would have made it a 10 out of 10. But I think Mario Kart is enough. I just wanted one other like smaller. Now that we're here,
the welcome tour. The welcome tour.
That's not it. It's not it.
Certainly not it. I do wish, although Jake's gonna have some opinions on that, I do wish that I had played Undertale and the first 2 chapters of Deltarune before, because that would have been a one to go to. But I understand that you're supposed to play Undertale before Deltarune, so I didn't want to just jump into that. But here comes Jake. He's getting activated.
Deltarune is. Did you know that if you rearrange the letters in Undertale, it actually spells Deltarune? Well, that's just the tip of the iceberg for what Toby Fox is bringing to the table with this genius game. It's unlike anything I've ever played. Being a person of the internet, Discord moderators sound off, there's something special about this one.
Stream marker.
So, Jerica, have you played the Octopath Traveler games?
Yes. Well, I haven't finished them, but I started and played a good bit of both.
Okay, because maybe we won't go too deep into it today because it may be coming soon. But thanks to our bald friend Jacob here, did get a little review access to the Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD remaster thing, and
smart. I was interested.
Yeah,
sniffing around
that. So I think I figured this out because of like how they announced that they'd sold however many million copies or whatever. It's the same team from Square Enix that did Bravely Default and ended up doing Octopath Traveler, or at least a lot of overlap between the two. So a lot of the mechanics are going to be pretty familiar to you. Like, it is like true turn-based. You're not doing the clear obscure dodging and parrying and stuff like that. And like the way that you would save up those BP in Octopath to attack twice or whatever, it's like that was built off of the system that's the Brave/default system in Bravely Default battle. So I put about 40-45 minutes into it. Definitely intrigued.
I thought you were about to say 40 hours. I was like, wow, that's longer than it's been launched.
He experiences time different than us.
A little differently than most people, wouldn't you say? But no, I would, and it's it's one of their budget remasters. I think it's only like $40.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
$39.99.
Okay,
yeah, boy. So yeah, if you like those games at all, I mean, it's a little something different to intersperse with your Mario Kart time. And so far, like I said, it's got an interesting premise. If you like any Final Fantasy games at all, it'll be pretty familiar. Square Enix and crystals, man, they love some crystals.
That's true.
Yeah. I think shout out to Square Enix for they hit me up to ask if I wanted a code, and I said yes, but do you guys have another one for my outlet? And they were like, send us your stats. And I was like, check these. And they're like, here's
we got some stats.
We have some stats.
These losers watching.
I think that this is really like an unsung hero for the Switch 2 launch lineup, because it is one of the only non-first party like games created for the Nintendo Switch 2 available here on launch day. Deltarune is available elsewhere. I think Flying Fairy is Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, at least for the time being. And it is really a nice coat of paint here. It is not the prettiest game that I've ever seen with its 3D models, but it does some very cool stuff with its art style where it blends a lot of different art styles together. And apparently it did this very well on the 3DS as well. But in this one in particular, when you first like come out of a building into this first like kind of castle town, you know, like it kind of looks like a little Hyrule, and it's very JRPG first city. Not so much like quaint town. It is more of like a city, but it does this incredible thing where you come out, your character's a 3D model, but everything else is hand painted. Like it has that hand painted, like drawn effect. And the camera, when you idle, pans all the way out on the city. And then you see the full scope of it with a little bit of the, it's absolutely one of the craziest visuals that I saw on the Switch 2 today. And then when you start to move again, like breaking out of your idle animation, the camera zooms back into where you were like flawlessly, and you start moving around and running. It is really, really slick. This game looks very, very cool.
You know what I found out, Jake, is that it actually does that even in like more interior settings. Like there's it's like the next area after the big city, like you go down the streets and you go into like almost looks like a cave kind of situation.
Yeah. Same
deal. Like I idled for a couple of seconds and like panned out in the cave. You can like kind of see like the artwork that they did to kind of give it some more flavor. I was like, this is really cool. I actually did I'm sure everyone is shocked that I'm over here spamming the screenshot button, and it's gonna be terrible quality, but I mean, like, look at that. Look at the art.
We can only see ourselves.
Yeah, I can kind of see.
Man.
I will say that Jake's stream today convinced me that I want to play it. It looks really nice. And like I was really impressed with it. And I've never heard of these games. I know that's probably a shock to all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it looked really cool.
I've heard of them, never been interested until you just told me what you told me. So I think that might be my other game.
Especially Expedition 33, if you guys are coming off hot on that one.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a pretty good transition. And it is very like, this is a pro, not a knock. It is very like formulaic Square Enix JRPG. Like it is turn-based stats, equipment. You know, you are in the realm of the light and you are trying to protect crystals. Like it is as Final Fantasy as you can get without having Final Fantasy on there. And there's a lot of shared DNA. And like Cog was saying, it is the Octopath Traveler team. It's the team that is about to put out Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD. They just did Dragon Quest 3 HD. They did Live Alive's HD port. These people know what they're doing for sure.
Do you fight God in the game?
I would assume so.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah.
I just dropped that screenshot that I took. I dropped it in the main just Dido Epson streams channel of our Discord, not this episode's thing, but yeah. So anyways, just go check it out so you can actually see
dropoutpod.com to join the Discord, Kayla.
It's our new background. Yeah, Coal Mine's good point. The voiceover work, it's there.
It exists.
I change it to Japanese just so I can't tell.
Sounds like
No, I'm
Patrick
in
when
on
he's
it.
doing his voiceover.
Oh no! What do you mean, Kayla?
It does, yes.
Yeah,
Now
I was
all I
thinking,
hear is
like,
Maury. I had no idea that he sounds like an anime boy until I heard him again recently. Like, oh, that's why that's familiar.
I'm hotter on the voice acting than not because I know what the alternative is. It's not better voice acting. It's no voice acting. It was
It's
I was, like,
reading.
no, yeah, I was commending it because
Yeah.
when we got out of like the opening cutscene, it was like, oh, our hero awakes at the inn and talks to the innkeep, and I was like, here we go. I'm gonna have to do a fucking long night. I see. Like I was like, oh god, here we
pretty
fucking
good.
go.
Pretty good read. Pretty good line read there, Jay.
Thank you. But they started saying the words. I was like, fuck yes, dude. I hate reading my video games.
Hell yeah. The game that I haven't picked that up yet. Because I was just completely boxed out of getting a code in favor of cognitive clips. But I picked up Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. I haven't turned it on yet, but that's what I want to put some time into that, and because that has a Switch 2 upgrade. It was like $2 to get the Switch 2 upgrade.
Yeah, it's really cheap.
Yeah, so I probably next time we talk about Switch 2 stuff, I'll have some impressions on that. Kayla?
Me too. That's all. I was sorry.
Cool.
I was just agreeing. I also really want to play that game, but I've been waiting because I know it's you can do cross progression, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is great because I do think maybe I would want to also play it on my PC, but I want to play it for the first time on the Switch because I feel like that would be a good Switch game.
I would assume though does that mean I would have to buy the game twice?
Oh, yeah. But
that's
you
really
might buy it on sale later down the road. You know, it's like I think to Kayla's point, I think that'd be. I've been eyeing it too, but I think I would also want to play that more on the Switch, like in handheld mode.
Sure.
There's a few games I play in like handheld mode. That one looks like one, and then like Stardew Valley is the other. So and Animal Crossing, but that looks like a good handheld mode game.
I boot up Fantasy Life like every other night for a half hour right before I go to sleep. I sit right here. I get zonked out of my mind, and I just fucking hack a couple trees and go towards the fucking quest. And they just put out a patch for it, or an upcoming patch that they're working on for like exploration to make some of like there's like one headache when you're exploring where you can't really like see exactly what your next destination is, and they're patching that and fixing it. Sounds like they're listening. I love level 5. Highly recommended. I forgot that is like a hidden Switch 2 launch game that kind of like was announced after the fact from like the initial launch lineup. Pretty cool.
Speaking of like hidden gems, little ports and stuff like that. I know I'm just playing into, again, just my own stereotypes for the year, especially considering my Lumiere artwork that's on the wall now. But honest question, do you all think that a Clair Obscur port is remotely possible for this year?
Sure, why not?
For sure.
Because I'm in that way too, because like every single time I want to doubt like a big game like that coming, I'm like, if they can make Cyberpunk sing when it couldn't even like function on other consoles, and my buddy who I sold the other console to, the Walmart version, he was talking about he could barely get it functional on his Steam Deck either. So the fact that they got it running as well as it is, from like every source that I've seen, friends, outlets, no matter who's talking about it, they all say, holy crap about it. If they can get that game to run on a Switch 2, then I'm pretty optimistic about Clair Obscur.
But Cyberpunk's been out a while though, so like it being so new, I just wonder if that maybe is. That's why I'm like, I see it coming for sure. I just don't know if it's this year. Might be something next year, or
I mean, that whole
we get some magical DLC that comes out. Maybe they figure something out for that.
God,
you know, I don't know.
We'll never hear the
fucking game of the month edition. I mean, that whole game just looks like a fucking sepia tone smear anyway. I'm sure they could figure out how to get it on there.
Come on.
Can't read, can't appreciate art.
Takes, but damn, sometimes that one doesn't need the shitty take. Deltarune get it all day. Whatever
really
the other one you hate.
Did you guys hear about what happened? Did you guys hear about what happened with Detroit Become Human the other day?
Oh no, yeah.
I tried to find that clip. I really want to see that. I can't find it. You guys send that to me.
That's so unfortunate.
Good stuff.
Any thoughts on Switch 2 before we go back to playing our Switch 2? And Kayla will go to sleep early so she can play her Switch 2 even quicker.
Yay!
Let me
I'm
just
sleeping with
rant
this under my
about
pillow.
Welcome Tour real quick, which I'll give you like like Christopher Nolan this thing. What's the first movie he did where it's all in reverse? I'll tell you the ending first.
That was actually his second movie, but continue.
Memento. Okay, I'm gonna fucking Christopher Nolan myself. So 45 minutes into the stream, I live deleted Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. And I started pretty hot on Welcome Tour. I will tell you that. I gotta say, I don't think I got a chance to speak during the mouse conversation. This was like the most mouse-centric thing that I've done on the platform so far. And I played 1 or 2 of the specific mini games in the first area where it requires you to move the mouse. It's basically like there's just like falling balls that you need to avoid, and you're this little UFO that is controlled by like the mouse pointer, and you just have to like dodge back and forth and move around the screen while using the mouth. And it's fairly accurate, but what it really brought to light for me was like 2 very big ergonomical problems with using the Switch 2 Joy-Con as a mouse. And those problems are, number 1, there's really no comfortable way to do it because the controller wants to be held like a controller at all times. So you can hold a Joy-Con in your hand, and then the only real way to comfortably move that into the mouse position is to like invert your wrist. And if you try to do that and hold it straight, you'll notice that your wrist kind of sits like this. It's not a comfortable position for your wrist to keep the mouse straight if you're going to hold it the way that it's meant to be held. The other big issue that you'll innately find is you're using it like a mouse, you're sliding the bottom part of it, but the thing is so top heavy, it's like an oval standing on its edge, the long edge, that as you do your typical mouse motion, you'll find yourself kind of like tilting the top and not the whole thing. So it, like this uncanny valley of how it should feel, where it's like almost spot on, but it feels fucked up. If I ever find a game that I think needs like mouse controls or can support mouse controls, I think it's cool that it's there, but I would buy a third-party mouse that looks and feels like a mouse.
Wonder if this feature gets forgotten.
I think so.
I think so
too.
That's my prediction.
For sure.
I saw someone came by earlier and I was like, oh yeah, there's this new mouse feature. And I tried to show it to him and it wouldn't work when I tried showing it to him. So that wasn't good. But there was also, this might be a Patrick problem, but when I was going through the little tutorial on the menu, it basically just makes the trigger, whether you're left-handed or right-handed, the trigger is the button.
Yeah.
And that for me felt wrong. Like I kept pressing A instead.
Antithetical?
Antithetical. Yeah. There we go. I started to say antithetical, but then for some reason it felt like maybe that was wrong. Doesn't matter. And so I kept pressing A, and then it's like, wait, what? Why is nothing happening? Oh, right. I have to click the trigger. And so there was just something, it just felt weird, but I wonder if that was just in the menu. I didn't actually try a game experience with it.
For sure. And I tried to like move things around, like, okay, can I use my middle finger and put this finger on the other side to kind of like level it out and pinch it between like my pointer and ring finger while using my middle finger to click the button, and that feels fucked up too. Like it's actually worse than I imagined it. I think the tracking itself is better, but the feeling in my hand and on my wrist after playing like 30, I would say probably I played like 7 minutes of that dodging game. It was the most fun that I had in Welcome Tour. And like my wrist was already sore and fucked up. And let me tell you, my wrists are fucking built to last, bro. These also, I think that Patrick, the issue that you might have had is if you didn't attach the little like guard thing to the bottom of the Switch.
Oh, I did not
Joy-Con,
do that either.
That's a must for the mouse.
Huh.
I think it's not a must, but I think it's like a much better experience for the way that it works because it's got these little glidey things, so it keeps the actual sensor off the surface as much as
that might be a must actually, because I could see that making a big difference because it was
me too.
Okay.
And it does widen it a little bit too, like the base, and it's got the little slidey pad, so it does kind of surf around a little bit better, but still not an ideal situation. Cog, what were you gonna say?
So my bad. When the system, like when you're setting it up, it has you do it for like 2 seconds, and I went ahead and put on that strap just to be safe, and like it felt fine doing it that way for me. I had like the coffee table right in front of me, so it was pretty easy to just like do it real quick, and so I didn't do any sort of prolonged attempts at using it to navigate anything else beyond just the tutorial that it gives you. But yeah, I would, based on that, I would say go ahead and put the little strap thingy on it.
I'm very curious to see if this game if the mouse works with like Stardew, because that could be cool.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
At this point, I can't fathom doing like more than 20 minutes on this mouse before I'm like, I gotta just get a fucking controller or stop doing.
What about
this.
at a desk? All right, so were you using it at your desk?
I was
Jake?
right here. Yeah,
Okay.
I was using it right where I use my normal mouse, and it was just a miserable situation.
I just don't think. I think your mouse I think your hand just needs to be able to rest.
Yeah.
It can't
exactly.
rest.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no resting there. So over time, it's uncomfortable. I don't know.
For sure.
I guarantee you there will be people selling 3D printed things that you attach to your thing to make it a full mouse. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty good idea. That could be really nice. Man. Like an insert type of thing that replaces that.
Patent
and then welcome tour. So I started off in like the main area and I walked around and there's 2 mini games to play that are fucking okay. And then I go, okay, let's go find some more of the mini games. And I try to go from area A to area B, and you can't go to area B until you 100% area A, which means you need to talk to everybody. You need to find the hidden thing.
Oh, I hate that.
You have to take
Sounds like every Wednesday night
quizzes,
for me.
dude. Oh my god, these quizzes. And I failed the second quiz twice, and then I was like, on the third time, I was like, okay, so it's got to be the top option, and it wasn't the top option, and it failed me, and I just went and I deleted it.
Oh my god, that's so funny. That's so funny.
I'm glad I didn't spend your chat's money on.
I know, yeah. I spent my chat's money. That was my Go Live notification. It was like, I spent your money on Switch 2 welcome tour. Come yell at me, and a lot of people did.
Noah's trying to yell at you right now.
Yeah, he said he failed because he read literally 0 words. Yeah, dude, I'm not trying to read my fucking game. I think if they patched that game and they just made it like a mini game collection, I think that maybe it would be worth the $10. Because honestly, it did scratch my brain a little bit to just play that really simple fucking game with like the novelty of the Switch 2 controller. And I did it in the first time. It lasted like 13 seconds and there was a medal for 20 seconds and a medal for 30 seconds. And I looked at that and I was just like, I gotta get those fucking numbers. So I just sat there and grinded that game until I got good at it and then completed it. And I was like, I would go and play another 10 of those in this little collection for $10 and have a good time, but non-essential.
Okay, not essential.
One quick thing I want to add, I forgot about. I was just looking at the eShop real quick, and I had the Nier Automata end of the game of the Yorha edition or whatever on my wish list from the Switch 1, because apparently that's like one of those miracle ports as well, from what I understand. And any excuse to play that game again, but it actually says for the Switch 2, not available for purchase, which I appreciate, because if you go to the store page, it just tells you there are some known issues with game progression for the Switch 2 at the moment, I guess because of like just the emulation between the 1 and the 2. So I don't know. I just want to give a shout out because I know that there was the issue, speaking of Cyberpunk, there's the issue back in the day where, was it Sony or was it Microsoft that started issuing like no questions asked refunds for people who bought it for PS4 and Xbox One because it just would not function? Mm-hmm. And then one of them took it off the eShop entirely. The other people just put like a warning up. So yeah, just shout out to just, not let people buy it for that system until you know for sure that it can actually work as intended. I think that's pretty cool.
It is nice. One last shout on the eShop is, I think we touched on it like right when we were starting and we said we'd get back to it and we never did. But the joy of booting up the eShop and then just going down one menu and having it not fucking freeze and freak out. Like, I mean, nobody with the Nintendo Switch has access to the eShop and had it run smooth in literally 5+ years. Like, never. You can't just go from one panel to another without that whole thing feeling like it's going to collapse. Somehow it doesn't, but goddamn, it is so nice to explore that menu without lag. Very nice.
So smooth.
Shout out to Willow's Wanders for the sub. Thank you so much. Very kind. Very kind.
Thank you.
I was muted for that, Kayla. We said it at the exact same time, but I was muted.
Whoa!
I thought it was exciting that we were saying at the same time, and then I looked and I saw red, and I was like,
"Oh, that was kind of sad." We can do it again.
We weren't saying it at the same time. But
3, 2, 1.
Shout out to Wander. Okay.
I feel bad again.
Embarrassing. How embarrassing for you.
That's okay. No, but that is the end of our show. Thanks for being here. What a great chat. Shout out to just some names. Again, Willow's Wonders. We had Noah. We had Rabbit. We had Coal Mines. We had Ash Altar. We had Wait For It. A great chat today. Let us know if you're watching this later, whether it be YouTube, if it's on another streaming platform. that I don't know about, tell me actually, because maybe someone's trying to steal our shit. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe, leave a review. 5 stars if you please, would you kindly? We're gonna be back the rest of this weekend several times. For those of you that are live tomorrow. A smattering of the people on this panel today are going to be live reacting to the Summer Game Fest showcase tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time, and then Saturday at 4, myself and Jerica and I think Cayman are going to be reacting to the Future Game Showcase. And then that night, we want you to come play Mario Kart World with us right here on twitch.tv/drop-in-drop-out-pod. We're going to attempt to go live around 8 Eastern. So just be ready around then. We're going to start up some fucking knockout tours. Maybe we'll do some free roaming. Who knows? But we're going to play Mario Kart World with you, and we'd love if you would join. And then Sunday, for now, we're wrapping it all up with an Xbox Showcase live reaction. No, that's not true. Monday, JK Games, you guys are going to do the wholesome direct reacting to it after the fact.
Yeah, hold off and watch it with us live.
Yeah.
We'll be doing that on Monday.
There's a lot going on Saturday, so if you want to wait to watch it with us, then I mean, hey.
There you go.
It would make sense for your schedule to do that, I think.
It would, actually.
And then also, if there is like a direct that's announced, any other showcase that's announced, depending on the size of it, we will do that.
I can feel it. There's a Nintendo Direct coming next week. It's coming.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh, it's gonna be a big one.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Jake's Pringles can feel it from a mile away right now.
The can's getting big. All right, get me out of here.
Okay. All right. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next one, or we're going to think you hate us. Bye.